My name is Michael Pashut and I'm the proud owner of Change Cars and the host of the TV show All Things Motoring. I'm even prouder to work with Alan Rosenmeyer of Motor Matters, your #1 review specialist for all things new. If you are looking for a new or used car, if you're looking for advice, visit changecars.co.za and I promise you, you will get the best advice from the best dealers in South Africa.
Just a couple of weeks ago, Alfa Romeo South Africa launched the updated, facelifted version of the Stelvio in South Africa. There's a video on the channel, of course, from the launch that I attended. We've already got one on test. So what's changed from the previous version of the Stelvio? Well, Alfa have gone to pains on the tri theme, shall we call it. Now, what do I mean by the tri theme? Well, you've got, look here, 1, 2, 3 grills. Alfa call it the Trilobo grills. So those are a theme over there, and you can see the gloss black on it, etc. Then, if you come into the headlights, again, notice 1, 2, 3 on either side. The triple headlights on either side. Now, those are taken from the SZ model of around 1990. That was a very, very special limited production model that Alfa built at the time, and it really caused and created a lot of excitement in the market when they did so. Come around over here, you'll see the cladding around the wheel arch and down under the doors in black. On the previous version it was body colored. So there's another little change, and I'm sure you'll agree with me. Look at these stunning clover leaf, of course Alfa clover leaf alloy wheels wrapped in 20-inch rubber. It's little things like that. This is the Veloce, which is the only model available in South Africa at the moment. It's powered by a 2-litre 4-cylinder turbo petrol engine that gives you 206 kilowatts and 400 newton meters of torque delivered to all 4 wheels through an ultra slick 8-speed automatic transmission. Now let's just pop open the back door while we're here and have a look. And you'll see a couple of things that I want you to really look at. There is lots of room. I don't need to get in the back. You'll see there's leg room. The driver's seat is set for myself, but in fact it's not set for myself because it's the comfort access, they call it, which means the seat is slid way back from my normal driving position when I switched off the engine. It'll move forward to my driving position and create a lot more legroom in the back over there when I start up the engine. You've got very nice black leather with very, very nice but sedate white counter stitching. You've got aircon vents in the back. You've got USBs in the back. You've got all those features you would expect and you would want from your premium medium family SUV. And they really are nice features as far as I'm concerned. Let's pop around to the back over here and you'll notice the smoked effect on the tail lights that are in the rear pillar and into the rear hatch, and of course the black bumper and diffuser spoiler over there as well. And you've got to take note of how are those mean exhausts on either side over there. Pop open the boot quickly, which is of course powered. You'd expect that, wouldn't you, from this car? And this really is a very nice sized boot you've got over here. Hello, this isn't a 2-Allen boot, I can tell you now. Definitely 2-Allen. I have no doubt about that. And while we're here, have a look here. You flip this lever to drop the rear seat if you want to load bigger things in while you're at the boot section. So that's again a neat feature. You've even got a 12 volt or 230 volt socket in the boot area down there when I move my foot out the way. So it's all nice features like that you've got. Now let me jump out quickly and show you. Now this is something that for South African conditions I can't say I'm totally mad about. You've got a space saver spare wheel, which in fact is one of those that even the space saver needs a compressor to pump it up. Don't want to go on and on about our South African roads and things like that, but quite honestly I would rather sacrifice a bit of boot space these days and get a full-size spare wheel in a car. But that's me, that's South African roads. Maybe Alfa could think about that for our conditions. Press button to close the boot. Simple as that. Let's see it on the road, let's check it inside. Well, on the road, the Stelvio is one of those cars that I've driven it basically as a very docile town car for this test. I'll be honest with you, I haven't driven it like an Alfa. But then again, this is really a family Alfa, isn't it? I mean, it's a medium-sized luxury SUV. It's got all the trappings of that, but it's got the potential to really be driven if you want to drive it like an Alfa. 206 kilowatts, 400 Newton meters, driving all four wheels through an 8-speed automatic transmission with massive pedals if you want to use the pedals. But in normal driving, let me tell you, the auto is smooth as they come. And it just is one of those cars that I've just treated it as a luxury SUV, quite honestly, that's got really nice performance as a big bonus. And I think if you treat it that way, it really does give you what you want. But what it's also got is, and we'll just do it now, is watch this. You put your foot down and it takes off like a scalded cat. That's for sure. It really does. And the handling is there, again, for a fairly heavy SUV. It handles so nicely. It's a little bit hard, yes, the ride, but you've got to allow for that and expect it on this car because of the performance potential and people who park literally blocking an entire corner. But it really does give you everything you want, yet it's still got the space for the family. Alfas are a head over heart or heart over head decision often. You either love them or you don't. And if you're a petrol head, you tend to love them. That's for sure. I certainly do. You know that. I think I've made it very, very clear to you. But you look around, it's got the nice big, the upgraded model now has got the bigger center screen. They've changed the TFT instrument panel in front of the driver. It's things like that that they've changed and they've improved, and you can see them very clearly, and they really do again stand out, and they make it very apparent that it's there. But those are the upgrades that they put into the new version that I think really do work well. We take our normal 3-point turn slot over here and just bring the camera down to the reverse camera over there. It's a slightly smaller screen, the camera, but you know what, it does the job. It's got the active guidelines. It's got all those sort of features at the same time, so you really don't mind at all. But a few people have tried genuine sporty family SUVs. Some have succeeded, some haven't. Alfa certainly have. That's for sure. Starting off behind the wheel, as we always do, the pertinent figure you want to see is that one in the center that says 10.6 liters per 100. Oopsie, can tell you that's probably a function of my enjoying the car more than anything. You could do somewhat better than that, but then again, I had too much fun with the car. I'll just be honest. But now also, one of the updates on the car is if I press the button at the end of the stalk over there, you press it and it changes the instrumentation. As you can see, you get the relaxed, you get the sporty, so you get the various different configurations, shall we call it. Now, coming down to the steering wheel, because that is really important, isn't it? So let's have a look. Well, of course, you've got active cruise control. You'd expect that, wouldn't you? You've got all your buttons over here that you expect. These are obviously features you expect. And I really like, of course, the stop-start engine button over there. And I mentioned these very substantial pedals on the steering wheel if you want to override the gear shift as you would want to do. One of the features, of course, that I use all the time is this button here that switches out the stop-start system. You know my feelings on those. Have a look at the door panels over here and you'll see you've got 3 memories for the driver's seat that obviously is electrically adjusted, etc. Now, these are features you expect and you know you're going to get on a luxury car like this one. Something I noticed on this car that I'm not sure if it's a setting or what it is, but I'm very surprised that the doors do not lock auto on pull off, you have to press that button on this car. I have a funny feeling maybe on it's a setting that you could find, but that's just something on this particular car. You come across again to the upgraded center screen over here, which has got your performance page, it's got navigation, it's got everything you expect. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. It is controlled by a rotary controller down here on the center console, of course, which while you're on it, on the center console and on the dash, how do you like this aluminium finish? This brushed aluminium finish. Just smells sporty, doesn't it? It really just feels and says sporty. It's got everything you want on the screen, the infotainment, the climate control, navigation, all of that is there. You're used to it. I'm not going to tell you too much about it, but it's nice, it's there. Now, something interesting. There's a single USB over here, and I found that strange, but there's a reason for it, and I'll come to that in a moment. You've got your push-pull, can I call it, gear lever over here to operate. You click it to the left, it'll go into manual mode, and then you can play with the paddles if you want. You've got your electronic parking brake over here. A nice feature is this knob over here is a volume control for the sound system, so your passenger can operate your volume, etc. And this knob over here, I love it, DNA, which everybody thinks means DNA as in the scientific DNA. In Alfa speak, it means dynamic normal, and I still don't know what the A stands for. It's eco of some sort, but why would you use that on an Alfa? I've left it in normal for most of this test. I clicked it into dynamic a few times, and you do feel a kick up the rear end when you do it. So you've got all of that. The one and only option Alfa offer on the Stelvio in South Africa is the panoramic roof. Very interesting. It's the only option you can spec on a Stelvio if you're buying it in South Africa. 20,000 Rand extra. But now, there's something really interesting. You've got a very substantial armrest over here, which is really nice. I'm going to pop it open. There are two things here. Do you notice you've got USBs in there? You've got a 12 volt. And you've got an inductive charging pad where your phone can lie over here charging. Now, they told me when they delivered the car that if you want to use Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, you have to use the USB in here. But this is one of the neatest things I've seen in a car for a long time. Your phone slots in, and notice the slot for the cable if you're running a cable, a USB. And it runs through there without it catching on the cable, interfering, fiddling with the link, etc. Because often I find when I put a phone, say here, when I'm using a front USB, that the cable becomes a problem. This, to me, it may be a little touch, but it's one of the most thoughtful touches I've come across in a long, long time, and that's why I'm spending time telling you about it. I really think often in life it's the little things that count, aren't they? Yes, and I know I'm short, so yes, the little things do count. So overall, an Alfa is an Alfa. You love them or you don't, generally, I must say. You know my feelings. I think I've made them very clear. But this is a dual role. It is a really comfortable luxury premium family SUV, or it's a sporty ride, etc. It's got both characters, both personalities. Boy, I can't wait for, of course, the QV version with the V6 that's coming soon, they say, with 275 kilowatts. Wow, that's going to be something else. We'll see when that arrives. But anyway, what are you going to pay for this? Well, the list price is 1.205 million Rand or 1.225 with the panoramic roof. Such a small difference. I know I would option it. Don't know about you. Yes, there are similar cars around. You'd look at the Mercedes GLCs, the 300, for example. You'd look at BMW's X3, the 240, the M240. They are similar around. But I know if this was me and I was buying in this category, I would certainly take a long look at this one. You're interested? Go on to Change Cars. You'll find a dealer and you'll find one there. I can tell you that right now. For Motor Matters, I'm Alan R. I'll see you next time.